Dear students, a very good day to all of you. Hope all of you are doing fine and have gone through the previous chapters of early civilizations. Earlier, we have already seen three civilizations, the Mesopotamian, Egyptian and Indus Valley civilization. Today, we will go through fourth chapter of history, that is Chinese civilization.
It is also one of the early civilization which has a remarkable architecture and town planning, along with rich art and craft, and also have introduced sericulture and weaving and many more things to the world. This chapter will be dealt in two parts. In part 1, we will deal with origin and location, in which we will see how China was the cradle of one of the world's earliest civilization. We will also see the main characteristics of the Chinese civilization, which will include town planning, in which we will see layout of the city, houses, what are Chinese houses made up of, architecture. We will focus on China's most famous architecture, type of society and the hierarchy. Occupation will include agriculture and domestication of animals as well as sericulture. Sericulture is rearing of silkworms, and they were the first to introduce sericulture. In part 2, we will deal with art and craft, which will include pottery and woodwork, trade, religion, Confucianism, and finally the decline of the civilization. Now let's explore the chapter in detail. The Chinese civilization is also known as Honghu civilization. Just like the other three civilizations, the Chinese civilization has also originated along the river valley. It was the cradle of one of the world's earliest civilizations. Students, have a look on the map. You will see that China is bordered on the eastern side by the Pacific Ocean, southern side by the Himalayas, western side by broad deserts and mountains, and in the northern side by Great Wall of China. In the far east, a great river valley civilization flourished. On the banks of which river? On the banks of Congo River. This river is also called Yellow River, as the soil around it is yellow in color. You may have read about Honghu as China's sorrow. That is because after the floods, the Honghu often changed its course, resulting in destruction of crops and canals of the area. The earliest known civilization of China is Shang civilization. A rich culture progressed under this dynasty, thus making China early cradle of civilization of the ancient world. The early Chinese civilization belonged to Bronze Age and later made a transition to the Iron Age. First, they used things made up of bronze, and later there was a change. The Chinese started to use many things of iron. In this, we will see architecture, city layout, as well as the houses. City planning in ancient China began with urbanization of the Honghu Valley in the later part of the Neolithic Age. The term Neolithic or New Stone Age may be new for you. Here I will explain you the meaning of the Neolithic or New Stone Age. The term Neolithic or New Stone Age is most frequently used in connection with agriculture, the time when cereal cultivation and animal domestication was introduced. Urban planning in ancient China followed strict traditional rules of layout and design based on specific religious and scientific ideas and principles. The objective was to create favorable and auspicious conditions that would bring balance and harmony between human, government, heaven, and earth. The city built during the rule of Zhou dynasty represent an ideal city layout. The city is laid out in the form of a square and was further divided into 9 squares. Dear students, you can have a look on the layout of the city on the slide given here in the picture. Broad parallel roads running north to south intersected at right angles by roads running east to west, dividing the city into wards. The palace and government buildings was built in the center, that is block 5 represents here. The outer city was built around it, like block 1 reserved for audience building, block 3 and 7 for temples, markets were built in block 9. In large cities, rectangular defensive walls with gates were built around the inner city as well as the outer city. Some of the larger cities were surrounded by moats. Generally, the houses were built around an interior central courtyard. Poor had small one-room house built generally with bamboo and sun-dried bricks. Rich people had large, fancy house made with timber wood, generally which was used to show the wealth. The houses were beautifully decorated. However, the pattern of the house were same irrespective of the classes. Main doors of every houses are south facing. Houses have an interesting features like curved roofs, resembling wings of birds, figures of gods on doorways. The ancient Chinese civilization has a vast knowledge and sense of architecture. One of the best examples of their architectural skill is the Great Wall of China. It is considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. The construction of the Great Wall was started by the ruler of the Qing dynasty. The purpose of the Great Wall was to keep the northern border safe from the frequent attacks of invaders. This Great Wall starts near the Eastern Sea, runs across northern and western frontiers of China and reaches Tibet. Its length is 2,400 km and it varies in height from 4.5 meter to 9 meter. Runs over mountains, plains and deserts. There are nearly 10,000 watchtowers spread across the entire length of the wall. Soldiers lived in these towers and kept a watch on enemy activities. It is the only man made structure on Earth that can be seen from the moon with naked eyes. In the year 1987, it was declared World Heritage Site by the UNESCO. Another important feature of Chinese architecture was the construction of pagodas. These temples where followers of Buddhism prayed. The pagodas were decorated with beautiful sculptures. The Chinese society was divided into many classes in the early period. It consisted of many scholars, administrators, farmers, artisans, and merchants. The highest authority in the state lay in the hands of the king. He, along with his family, were held in the highest position in the society. Below them were the nobles, the merchants, craftsmen, and farmers. Lowest rung was that of slaves who led a miserable life. Soldiers were held in high esteem in the society. People were very much afraid of them. They lived in small clans and elders were obeyed. The Chinese also venerated their ancestors. The Chinese society had a well-knit family system where elders were respected. Chinese society was basically an agricultural society, and the main occupation was agriculture. The main crops produced by the Chinese civilization were rice, wheat, millet, barley, and soybean. The Chinese were the first to cultivate tea. Initially, tea leaves were used as medicine, and later tea became a popular drink. For many centuries, China was only source of tea for the rest of the world. Since the civilization was established near rivers, the vast irrigation system ensured surplus production of food grains, which promoted the growth and advancement of this civilization. Another prominent occupation of the people was domestication of animals. They domesticated and reared horses, cattle, sheep, dogs, and poultry. They used horses and horse-drawn carts as a means of transport. The production of silk and rearing of silkworms is known as sericulture. Sericulture or silk production forms an important part of the Chinese tradition. The Chinese were also the first to introduce sericulture. They reared silkworms on mulberry trees. Silk cloth was extremely valuable in ancient China. Wearing silk was an important status symbol. At first, king and his family members were only allowed to wear silk. The weavers wove cloth from the threads. The main items of Chinese trade consisted of silk trade, tea, and pottery. Thank you, dear children. Work hard, dream big, and never give up. Stay happy Stay safe.
Dear students, hope you have enjoyed the session and topic is clear to you all. However, I wanted to share an interesting story of silk that I came across, though not related to our syllabus. The history of silk goes back to ancient times in China. The most common tale on the origins of the silkworm begins in 2640 BC when Xi Lingqi, a Chinese empress, was simply walking through her garden when a cocoon dropped into her tea. Upon picking it up, she found the cocoon began to unravel, forming a beautiful string of what is known as silk. After looking for the origin of this cocoon, Lingqi studied the mulberry tree above her and could not help but notice of all the small caterpillars crawling around. She came to the conclusion that the cocoon had come from the small caterpillar. For 2500 years, the royal family of China had kept the secret of silk to themselves. The material was sold to the rulers of the West, but the source of the shiny thread was not revealed. So, children, that's all for today. I, Rima Mitra, signing off for now till we meet again. Stay safe, stay healthy.